Fresh Bake, welcome back for another update on construction progress going on around the Disneyland Resort. And I know it's been a few weeks, so we got some catching up to do. Namely, we'll lead off with this amazing, bright, brand new sign out in front of the Mickey's PhilharMagic, which is glorious in my opinion in more ways than one. It's much improved, obviously, over the old entrance, and it's going to draw so much more attention to the PhilharMagic attraction that I feel like it's gonna do wonders for its attendance. By the way, also we'll pause here because it may look odd that there's these four construction beams here, right in the middle of the area that should be a walkway, and that's because they're probably going to be putting in some sort of ticket booth. I mean, it's not a real ticket booth, obviously, but it's going to look like one. It's going to look like a ticket booth you might find at a theater. So that's still to come, but I think they're going to open this thing up, in the meantime while they build that, hopefully. I don't know. But I'd like to see more people go into this attraction, that's for sure. And there you see, that's where the people eat. So it's kind of the same as it was before. I didn't happen to notice how you get over there. And that's where you'll enter. So you don't have to go around the other side anymore. By the way, funny little side effect of this glorious new sign at the Sunset Showcase is how it has now minimalized and basically created a black hole at Award Wieners where there is no light. Watch this. I noticed this the other night. There's no light at Award Wieners, and just this beacon that you can see from the middle of the Pacific, the Mickey's PhilharMagic, and then nothing. It's odd. I don't know if they're going to fix that, but it is very striking. And I feel like it does need to be addressed. All right, the French fry rocks. Of course, you've heard by now that the first middle French fry rock has been removed. So let's get on the Astro Orbiter to see how things are looking today. A couple things to note. You've got some rebar set down there on the ground. They're getting ready to pour some concrete right there. Probably, I think that rounded perimeter is a new thing. I think they put that down. That's new concrete, and then they're going to put in, obviously more concrete in that area to its left. The square building there, right there in the lower right with the EER, that actually is that closet thing that Ian and I were talking about when we visited this before. Wondering, would they? Is that a reason to keep the French fry rocks? Because we thought if they're going to destroy the French fry rocks, they're probably going to have to destroy that thing too. Apparently not. So that must have some purpose. The fact that it's still here, I'm assuming. They would have demoed it, I would think, with the French fry rocks if it didn't have a purpose. If it was anything like a broom closet or something like that. So it may have some other function with relation to the Astro Orbiter. We'll find out. If they do keep it, then they're going to have to obviously obscure that with something. And perhaps that's what that rounded area is. They've got plans there. Maybe they've got something, some sort of landscaping to put on or over it. It's kind of like how they did with the House of the Future base that remains at Pixie Hollow. They just built all that, landscaping around it. And then you can see way back in the corner, it looks like they've already started putting down the paving stones that will, create the perimeter of the hub area there on this side of the sidewalk, or this side of the street, and where they're going to remove the curb. This is another Project Stardust type deal where they're, removing a lot of the curbs throughout Main Street and the hub. Okay, let's go over to the Pixar Pals parking structure. This is probably the last update worth even noting. I don't know how long this has been done. If they finished this a week or so ago. Like I said, I haven't been here for a couple weeks, but there's nothing left here. It looks like all the paving stones are down, the trees are up. We're just waiting, really. It looks like they're just waiting for the other side to finish. And by that I mean this. Here's the crosswalk. And this is one of the, ground level entrances. You can see they put down the walking path, and that's going to connect with the one that, comes over from the bridge from the Pixar Pals parking structure. And there you go, guys. This looks like confirmation. We've got ourselves a staircase coming for the bridge for those guests who don't want to go the long way, or I guess that would be the long way. This is take those stairs straight down and you're on the path. that's just where Dustin said it was going to be too. I kind of like, gosh, I don't know. It doesn't look like a lot of room to put a staircase. I mean, I had thought there was going to be one. I actually thought it was going to be on the other side. Dustin said, no, it looks like it's going to be there. I forgot to assume that you could build, the kind of staircase that has like a switchback that uses much less space. So that's why that my imagination couldn't conjure that image for some reason. Continuing here, you can see the new asphalt that has been poured, and as we push in through here, on the other side of those little bushes there, the little vegetation that they got down there, is the walking path. You see the parking stalls, the parking places have been marked, have been painted, and that's where it's connecting with the bridge all the way over there. Plants getting ready to be installed throughout the walking path. We're almost there. And then this is right where the path connects with the bag check. By the way, the bag check has been closed for the last couple days, at least. So I don't know if that's a permanent condition or situation or just part of this part of the project. They need to close it for now. But that white path back there is the footpath, the pedestrian path. And then here's a long shot from atop the Pixar Pals parking structure where you can see a lot of the work is complete, man. That's a lot of done pedestrian path right there, and how it runs along parallel with the bridge, and then they connect into one path. I don't know how much time you save if you're walking by going down those stairs, but whatever. You got 2 ways to go. It looks really nice. It looks lovely. I'd like to walk on that path. I'd be curious to see how those parking spaces wind up evolving. Probably wind up being like they were at the original downtown parking lot. And then in just a couple weeks, I think it's like a week or two, that bridge will be open, and guests will be able to go along that path. And that day that it does open, we will be there and we will give you a full walkthrough. You can count on that. Let's go to Avengers Campus, and we're going to stop right here because I haven't done an update on Avengers Campus since the concept art has come out, and so I thought it'd be cool to sort of visualize where the buildings are as we see them being constructed. And that building right there obviously is the Spider-Man attraction building, and you can see it obviously shares that structure right here, obviously, and everything else is going up around it. We won't, though, be able to see much else in terms of construction here for a little while because everything is covered in scrim. The next thing we'll be able to see is some of that facade work that you can see here in the concept art. You'll see those areas being more finished in short order. And we'll continue. Yeah, you can't see anything here. But unlike Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge, we couldn't see anything. We're going to at least get to see them build the facades this time, which is going to be much more interesting of a process. Now that's where, right to the frame there, that's where we thought they were going to be putting the Quinjet. Obviously, no Quinjet coming, nothing coming here except for HVAC. And you can see back there, that's Pym Kitchen. And there won't be much to see in terms of, there's no identifiable markings. If you look at the concept art, there's no real, like, oh my gosh, that's that part of the Pym Kitchen. It's just going to be that building. It's very rectangular and basic in nature, so not a lot of landmarks to note. But we'll zoom in anyway to see what we can find. And we'll stop here again because this is interesting. This is something that Dustin pointed out. By the way, thank you, Dustin, for all your help every week. We've been doing this. That building in the foreground, or actually it's more in the middle of the frame, just on the other side of those trees, that's the Web Suppliers building. And we a long time ago, we had asked what those 4 poles were that had been sticking out, but they hadn't had any they didn't feel like they had any purpose. And they don't, as it turns out. If you look at the concept art, there they are right there. Those are those 4 poles. They're just, those look like to be alternative power. My guess is they're the story here is that Web Suppliers is run by alternative energy. You can see some wind turbines there, and I would imagine, they're both wind turbines. I think those things oscillate also, do they not? If I'm not mistaken. So there's that. Interesting. And we'll continue. And then that area right there, they're not going to be building much there, I would imagine. That's just going to be sort of a common area. Actually, we'll stop here again, get a long view of the concept art, and that's what I mean. This area right here where the Avengers symbol is, that's that common area we're looking at right there. That's, you know, kind of a hub, I guess, for, you know, phase one. I don't know. This set doesn't have, I mean, it's just a land, so it shouldn't have a hub, but there you go. And we'll start kind of, you can't see anything there now, but down there in the very lower right, that's where the Doctor Strange area is going to be. But right there, obviously, that's this building right here. If we take a long view of the concept art, that's the building with the Quinjet. The Quinjet will be up there somewhere. I'm not sure yet. I can't tell really where we are right now, because it's a very big structure, and it's difficult to tell where we are in this new environment relative to the old environment. But obviously the multi-layer deal going there. And then out of frame to the right, I would imagine is that long, slim area. Now, Dustin said you can't, I don't know if we can see it here in this. To his eye, it looked like the red car trolley would actually go through this building. It looked like the tracks were going through the building. Now, I'm not sure. I'm trying to visualize where the tracks were in this, because it's hard for me now at this point, because they've moved the walls back, so I don't know where the perimeter is of the old construction area versus the new construction area. Has the construction crossed over into what used to be the area where the red car trolley parked alongside the Tower of Terror? I mean, it does look like they kind of, if you think about it this way, where you park the red car trolley is on the other side of that building. So yeah, it has to go through, right? It has to. No, it doesn't park there, it doesn't stay there, but it's going to go through it when it parks at overnight, I should say. I don't think that guests will be able to ride the trolley through that building. Just like guests don't ride the trolley when they park it backstage. I guess that's what I'm saying. But I'm going to be paying attention to that, because that's kind of a fascinating little thing to observe about how this land is evolving. And we'll continue. And right there, where that Earth mover is, right there, is about where the Doctor Strange meet and magic show will be occurring, I'm assuming. Well, we covered a lot of ground here, didn't we? Maybe in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to do a little bit more before and after, and to see how this thing has evolved. Because a lot of progress has been made, again, since we haven't done update for 2 weeks. Oh, there goes the five and dime back there. Just trying to see if I can find anything, obviously. Now, this is backstage. We're gonna have to be watching this, because I heard the permit was filed finally for the construction of that administrative building that we had rumored a while back. Just out of frame on the left, you can see there right now. You can see the steel for that Avengers Quinjet building, and there we go. Whatever attraction they're gonna build for Phase 2 is gonna go over in that area that we've left. That's probably where it's going to go, because it's going to connect with this area that we're closing in on right now. That attraction will locate itself behind that area. Can't wait. Okay, this is still under construction, this being the red car trolley loading area. It's nothing to observe here, it's just refurb, not much happening. We are now at the Toy Story parking lot, and they've moved in the fence. This fence has now engulfed more of the parking spaces. That's a lot of parking that they have closed off at Toy Story. There's a look through the fence here. And by the way, we'll pause, because it looks like there's some trenching happening, Dustin says back here. I'm guessing right about here in the middle of the frame. And you've got some pipes, conduit, water maybe. I heard they're going to be installing a bathroom and a bag check. So this could be the eventual location for one or both of those things, bag check and a restroom. At least bag check. I'm not sure about the restroom, but at least bag check. They are going to have bag check at Toy Story instead of having you go through the bag check for those guests that are walking in from Harbor, which I think is a pretty good idea for those of us who are taking the Toy Story bus, which I am one of those because I come from the South. Toy Story bus is super great when you come from the South. Not as great when you're coming from the North. Just putting that out there. But they are going to, so I guess my assumption is, a selection of the bag check areas on Harbor Boulevard will be reserved for those guests coming off the Toy Story bus. And we'll continue as I took the bus down this way to show another opposite side view of the fence. Oh no, we're not there yet. Woody parking is on, we've just passed it actually. Now we're coming around to behind it. What's up, bus? This area to the camera right, that area hardly ever gets used at all, and if it does, usually it's just for overflow on super busy days like D23 or for cast member. The area that we're looking at now is the area that they've closed of the Woody parking lot, so that's not being used at the moment. And as we speed along, you can see that there's a lot of work going on there for who knows what besides, like I said, besides that bag check situation. And then as we cross over this side, on the other side of the tree line is the cast member side of the Toy Story parking lot, which has now also been closed off. No cast member parking here at all. I don't know where they're parking now, to be honest. This is all going to become guest parking as well. The Toy Story lot is going to be an enormous parking lot very soon, more enormous than it is already. All of that space is going to be for guests, and I'm wondering... It doesn't fill up already, guys. There are nights when it doesn't fill up. So, and now we went from having not enough parking to not too much parking. That's the way it feels. Very curious situation. Very, very curious. And I guess that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week with another construction update. Until then, fresh baked. We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out some of our other videos and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Bake Fresh Daily. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time. Fresh baked!